Three. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Life I'm Gonna podcast. Today, I am joined by my very good friend, Adienka, aka Pablo. Um, and we're going to talk about Arsenal, all things Arsenal, the here and now, and also the future. Um, just to give a little backdrop. So, first of all, Pablo, he's not new to the channel. I think he's been on three or four separate occasions in the past. And I know you guys like that video because there was a lot of views on those videos. Um, Quite rightly so, because he's knowledgeable, smart guy, and he really cares and loves the Arsenal. Um, welcome back, Pablo.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Dougie. It's always a
Y-
pleasure to be here speaking on our favorite team. And, we both have passion for the team and the game. And that's a part of the reason why we're here talking about the team we love.
Exactly. All right, guys. So we're going to jump right into it. So Arsenal, the here and now, and the future. All right. So we already know we're joining after this Community Shield game that we won. You refer to it how you want. Some people refer to it as not just another friendly. And some people refer to it as big deal, a trophy, setting the tone. Personally, for me, I think it's a trophy. It has to be because in any other league, any other big European league around the world, they refer to that cup that we refer to as the Community Shield as their Super Cup, right? So if you go to Germany, if you go to Spain, if you go to League One in France, they refer to their starting cup as their Super Cup. So the Community Shield is our Super Cup. So it has to be a trophy. And if you look at the faces of the Man City, how dejected they look, the Man City players after their loss, it's because they know they missed out on a trophy, and it's because they know that they missed out on an opportunity to set the tone for the season. All right, so let's jump right into it. So we've signed Christoph Solis, we've signed Ian Mesley, we've signed Bruno Guimaraes. Of the bunch, I think Bruno Guimaraes and Christoph Solis are the two that upgrade us. Personally, what I've seen so far, and I don't want to be too quick to say this, but I'll say it. I expect my expectation based on the numbers of Christoph Solis coming from Club Brugge in the Belgian league and what we have seen so far in preseason in terms of goals and assists, specifically assists, and the game against Man City where he got two other assists that I expect him to prove to be a better signing than Leandro Trossard. And everybody knows how important and how pivotal Leandro Trossard was to our seasons in the past, to our build up to winning the Premier League. The seasons before that, when we came second for three consecutive years in a row, and to take it over the line and actually win it. So which is a big claim, but I'll make the claim. And then Bruno Guimaraes, who needs no introduction. Newcastle United, club captain, phenomenal player. Over the years, him and Declan Rice have been Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, so to speak. And that was the combative nature of their runnings. But he's a part of our team now, and words can't even begin to explain how important this signing is. So let me go over to my co-host for today. So Pablo, what do you think about Christos Solis so far, and what do you think about the signing of Bruno Guimaraes? First of all, do you think I'm gonna ask you this question first, and then you can answer those two. There's some people out there believe that Bruno Guimaraes is not a marquee signing. I think he is. Absolutely. There's no way in hell that you can pay 75 million pounds for a player and the player not being marquee. And then on top of that, generally speaking, he's just a marquee signing. But what's your take on? Do you think he's a marquee signing on?
Yeah, he's definitely a marquee signing. Um, I think he will upgrade our midfield because me personally, one of my complaints I had last season was I know when we signed Zubimendi, we all had big expectations of him. However, based on what I've seen personally, I I think his defensive game kind of made us a bit weak. He's good going forward, Zubimendi. I think he's more of a progressive midfielder. That's his qualities. But to have him play in defensive midfield up to this day, I don't understand it. So having a player like Bruno Guimaraes come in, and I think he's gonna play him beside Declan Rice, probably a double pivot. So, and there's a lot of dynamic there because they both can go forward as well. So it's going to be very confusing for the opponents. And both players have legs and they have a defensive side. And both of them with an offensive player in the in the likes of Odegaard, or we can play even whoever else is going to be there. I don't know how the signings are going to go. We might get another midfielder if the reports are right of Nuwan Neri leaving
Yeah.
on loan. Yes, but the dynamic in that midfield, Guimaraes' defensive side gives us more stability there. So it's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Pablo said. I think that it's going to be very confusing. Was very confusing for Man City. Though they never played together, but just the idea of for argument's sake, you see what happened when Luis Kelly and Bruno Guimaraes played together and how confusing that was. To be honest with you, I think that even confused some of the fans. Um, you know, because you're not too sure the unpredictability of both of them in one team makes the it's very unsettling for the opponent, especially with players um, like Pablo said, Martin Odegaard, and Eze. It's going to be a complete show. All right. So and it's good to hear, Pablo, that you think that he's a marquee signing because I don't understand how a club captain of that caliber and that quality, who is a Brazilian starting international, cannot be a marquee signing for 75 million pounds. But anyway, to put all that to bed. All right. So sorry guys, I don't know if you can hear, but it's starting to rain in the background. So excuse the rain. All right, so Ezri Konsa. I know you don't know much about Ezri Konsa because you're not an Aston Villa fan, you're a Arsenal fan. Um, but do you think that we needed somebody? I mean, we have the youngster Marley Solomon. I know it might be too much too soon for him, but do you think that we have Christian Mosquera who can play that position as well? The only point of concern or point of contention that we had was the right back position because we know that Urian Timber is out and we know the injury issues with him and Ben White. And Ben White, he's wearing all kind of tape on his legs. So who knows when his hamstrings are going to give out. Do you think it was an absolute necessity to go out and sign Ezri Konsa or any other player in that position?
Well, you kind of put me on the spot, Dougie. To be honest, I've not given it. I think it's a fresh signing, so I've not given it as much thought as yet. However, with those points you just made, with the right back position being a bit vacant right now due to the injuries of White and Timber. Fresh off just winning the league. I know there's more relaxation. There's a more feeling of relaxation for the boss. So he's allowing players who are injured to take their time. Not we don't need to rush them back. So signing these covers now in the form of concept, I think the boss knows what he's doing. So perhaps he's gonna, and I realize he's signing. The boss likes to sign players that are versatile. I don't know how versatile Konsa is, but Mascara can play in the right back position for a bit. He's not an out and out right back, but he has played there. So I think the boss is gonna probably have Mascara playing more right back, and that is why he made that central signing in Konsa.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that's exactly how it's going to go. Guys, in the comment section down below, let me know if you think the Konza signing was an absolute necessity and why. All right, so I have two more questions for you, Pablo, because I know you have to run. Um, I want you to tell me if you could sign one offensive player, because I think it goes without saying that we need one marquee. Mikel Arteta speaks about where we are right now in terms of our strategy, and we're champions, and right now if we're going into the market, there is a niche pool of players that we can choose from that would improve us. There's not many players who can improve us. There's a 1% of that, of all the players who are playing in Europe, that can actually give us some kind of improvement. And you could choose one offensive player, no matter which European league, no matter where in the world, as a matter of fact, which position and who.
All right. Just a quick statement before I answer that question, if you don't mind, Dougie.
Yeah, man, of course.
All right. One thing I think we have not touched on as yet is that there are players that probably need to go out before we can say which players need to come in.
But all things being equal, say we get rid of the,
Mhm.
the likes of Gabriel Jesus,
Right,
who's linked to
right,
Napoli. If
right,
we already got rid of Trossard. If Martinelli goes to Galatasaray, if
right.
Waneri goes out on loan, and if Nelson goes wherever wherever he's going at this point, right? Then if all things are equal, and we sold all those players, and we're going to sign one player, marquee signing, which where on the front three would you sign that player? And who would it be?
Okay, all right. I think the position that can make us in an out and out European threat. Well, we are a threat, but you know, in the likes of what PSG is doing to other teams, I think we need an out and out prolific striker. One that when you see him, you begin to quake in your boots. I don't think we have a striker of that nature. With all due respect to Gyökeres and Havertz, who's been and Jesus.
I
We
agree.
need an out and out striker who can perhaps carry the ball and strike the ball from any angle and score from any angle. Make something out of nothing. That
Agreed.
player that
Agreed.
we had in the form of Aubameyang was the last striker we had of that nature. So
Right.
an Aubameyang type striker. I think we were being linked to the Nigerian. Is it Oshman?
Yeah, from your homeland. Yeah.
Right. I think a player like him, we could give him a try. I would take
Yeah.
him right now. If you offer me Oshman right now, I'll bite your hands off, to be
So
honest.
I I agree. Victor Osimhen would definitely
Osimhen.
be a player that I would be highly interested in. The reason why, I think he's very combative. I think he's an athlete. He's very fast. I think his link up play is very good. His passing in tight spaces is very good. Um, and I think he's just a player that just causes confusion. And I think a lot of the times, and a lot of the game states, especially with these teams playing low blocks, you need a player like that in the box. You need a tall, combative, erratic striker who, 1 minute he's fighting in the box to win a header, set pieces, and the next minute he's hitting the ball from the edge of the box. We don't like Pablo said. We don't. The last time we've had a striker that has been that unpredictable was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and we have not had one since. Um, to me, Osimhen would basically reflect a combination of both Olivier Giroud and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And I think if we do sign him, if we were to lose one more striker, which inevitably we can't have three of those strikers on the team, then it would make sense to get rid of Victor Gyökeres and stay with Havertz and Osimhen, as our two forward options for the season. That's my opinion. There's no way we can keep three strikers of this caliber in the team, guys. Let's be honest. All right, so that's good. So we agree on that. And And lastly, Pablo, do we think we can go back to back? Because it's going to be the first time in Arsenal history that you've ever gone back to back in terms of winning the Premier League. Do you think we can do it?
I don't see why not, Doug. And especially if the manager continues to improve the squad during this transfer window, it will increase our chances. And the manager is very ambitious. His mentality is almost second to none. So I don't see why not.
I agree. I agree 100%. All right, guys, let me know what you think about the signing of Ezri Konsa. Let me know who you would sign if you could sign an attacking player across the front three. And finally, let me know if you think we can win the league. Obviously, if you're a staunch Arsenal fan like Pablo and I, then the answer is yes. Everything is there. If you look across the league, everybody is in some kind of project, beginning project, middle project. Arsenal is the only team that is, first of all, champions, and second of all, has an identity, has a philosophy, and has been in the project. And now it's just time to capitalize on it. And call it what you will. Some people might call it a dynasty, but either way you take it, in whatever you decide to call it, we definitely believe that we can be champions. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Lifelong Gunner podcast, guys. Peace and love. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notices. Share with a friend. And I'll see you on the next one. And we're out.